The Anthropic settlement the other day of $1.5 billion for the copyright theft of pirated works is really, really a strange situation. And AI Central, which is where, of course, myself and some others write on Substack, is covering this when I don't see anybody else talking about how the settlement states that you have to be formally registered with the U.S. Copyright Office in order to receive anything about this. Now, this is interesting. I received a comment on one of my other channels when I was talking about this situation. There's $1.5 billion, up to $3,000 is going to be awarded to authors. Yeah, there's $1.5 billion, but I think most of it's going to go to larger corporations that actually have the funds to begin with, the big five publishing, not really independent authors who actually just had their works on there, because of the way that this is phrased, because most independent authors, myself included, don't actually register something formally with the U.S. Copyright Office, because technically your work's copyrighted anyway. It's protected under the law. But that registration is all that the federal government is paying attention to here, and that's all that's happening for this situation. So please hit the like and subscribe button. We'll get into this. Frank Wu, who's part of the industry here, actually sent out an email on this talking about the Anthropic settlement and said, where did he say this? I should have pulled this up. There we go. That after news outlets did this, Frank Wu sent out a lot of emails to different professionals telling them to sign up. Attention, fellow writers, artists, editors, publishers, you may be entitled to boatloads of money. This is not a joke or scam. The lawsuit involving the theft of possibly your work for AI is settled for $1.5 billion, which you may be eligible for $3,000 per theft. May be eligible is the big operative word here, and he doesn't actually allude to this. And this is where the industry kind of deludes itself on a lot of levels. I saw the Science Fiction Writers of America go out with their email about this ahead of the settlement, saying that they're working and talking about it and the like, and trying to puff up as if this was an indictment on AI works, not an indictment on piracy, which they actually, in the case, ruled that AI writing is a transformative work and actually does not have any copyright infringement in and of itself. Now, if they did get some pirated works and pirate some stuff, they're guilty of piracy on a separate count, which is the same thing. If you downloaded some pirated books to your computer and they caught you for it, you could get sued for the same sort of deal. Now, $3,000 per theft is a lot, and that's exactly what is alluded to here. But I don't know how much the attorneys are going to get in this and how much other organizations are going to get in this that are already carved out. We don't know how it's all set up. But in this, you can apply for your settlement all you want. But if you did not, have your work registered with the Copyright Office, right, then you are out of control on this. So this is where he kind of states this. I know there's a lot of work. It's also possibly $3K per violation. Here's a phone number for the law firm to see if your stuff's been stolen, is taken a look at. There's a LibGen library for books and LibGen libraries for videos and movies. And I actually showed that on this thing. I can search for myself. And I'm on here multiple times. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 works for me on here just by itself. So, I mean, it sounds great. Like I'd be entitled to possibly $33,000 out of this. I'd make my year pretty nicely right there. But like I said, the $3K is the total amount, and it's probably less than that once it gets into the lawyers splitting things. And more than that, like again, it says in the settlement that if it's not registered within the Copyright Office, then it's not. Then I don't have a copyright registration. So and so he says here, also be sure to include if there's a copyright registration, right? And that's it. The only people who mostly bother to do those are people with mainstream publishing contracts with the mainstream publishers, because they actually pay for that a lot of the times, or if there's some sort of IP that's like being built with that on movies and the like. So this is something that a lot of authors are, as of the way that the current settlement is worded, not going to get a penny out of this, which is pretty wild. And so this is where the language actually says, in addition to establishing a public record for copyright claim, registration offers other statutory advantages. Before an infringement suit be filed in court, the registration is necessary for U.S. works, so you can't file without registering. Registration establishes evidence of the validity of the copyright, and the facts stated in the certificate If the registration is made before or within 5 years of publication. When a registration is made prior to the infringement or within 3 months after a publication of work, a copyright owner is eligible for statutory damages, attorney's fees, and costs. And so all these books are unfortunately out of 3 months for me, at the very least, so I can't do much about it. So the legal system will not protect any work that is pirated if after the copyright registration is filed, but before the copyright registration is approved by the office. So it actually has to be approved by the office in order for it to be protected. So there's no way for the author of any work that's published and copyrighted outside of the United States, for one, or is published or not registered with the United States Copyright Office to pursue legal redress against Anthropic, Meta, or any other AI company when the company admits to having pirated the author's works. Now, this is pretty wild because we've got this. So it's certainly possible Anthropic intends to compensate the authors of 9 out of every 10 pirated works that are not included in the settlement. Perhaps it's not an accident that the ratio of money set aside for a settlement to a new investment is not dissimilar to the ratio of registered works to unregistered works, but that's by no means a given, and it could be coincidence. Now, there are still various means of legal redress that can be pursued. Foreign publishers can take Anthropic and AI to court in their home country with expectation of success, although that's only likely to prove financially worthwhile if the AI company sued happens to have physical presence there. But the vast majority of self-publishers and foreign authors are going to be left out of luck with regards to this initial settlement. Pretty wild that this is the case. I was almost excited about this yesterday, going, oh gosh, I've already submitted to the lawyers there. I got 11 works in here. That's pretty cool. But it looks like we might be out of luck as regular authors here. Now, I am not against AI and not against Anthropic. I'm a big fan of Anthropic. I love Claude. I think it's the best generative AI out there. And I think that generative AI is not theft or anything like that, but this is a matter of piracy, and I do want works not to be pirated. I think that's very important in our culture overall, that, of course, writers should get paid for their work, and, of course, piracy is something that's illegal for good reason, and they're trying to stem that here, which is a good thing. Two different scenarios, but this is a very interesting part that this is not likely to get any authors paid outside of the mainstream publishing industry whatsoever. This is mainstream publishing with a money grab once again. It's not protecting independent authors. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.